Okay, hello, it's Dean. Welcome to the Manflow Yoga podcast if it's your first time joining us. Today's episode is a little bit different. I thought that I would bring my wife on and we could have a discussion. First off, so you could get to know her and through that, hopefully getting to know me a little bit better. But we do get a lot of questions about you, wifey. I think people will want to hear from you. But then also, I want to kind of give people an inside look at what it's like to live with me, and maybe some of what doesn't come across on social media. Can you remember the last time that we looked into each other's eyes like this? I can't. So if you're not watching the video version, we only have one microphone. I couldn't figure out the second setup, so we are sharing one microphone, kind of like a duet from the 1960s, I would say. So you'll get that. Anyways, welcome to Manflow Yoga Podcast, Marissa. I'm so glad we could get you on here.
Yeah, happy to be here.
She's not accustomed to video or audio, so this is new for her. So you're gonna see us leaning in and out of the microphone. Anyways, so Marissa, you are a PT, DPT, OCS. Can you tell people what that all stands for and what that means in terms of your education and your profession?
All right. So, PT, physical therapist, and then I have my doctorate of physical therapy. So, 4 years undergrad, 3 years PT school. And after graduating, I studied a little bit more and took the Orthopedic Certified Specialist exam in 2019.
Cool. Um, and having an OCS is a rather prestigious thing, right? I mean, how many PTs actually have an OCS?
Well, specialties in general, I think are around like 5 to 10% of the PT population.
Got it. Thank you. All right. So, do you do yoga at all? And if not, I think this is an interesting question to me, or I think a lot of people, because I think everyone thinks that Marissa is like this yoga princess. So, do you do yoga, or and if not, what do you like doing for fitness?
I do not do yoga. Um, it's fairly slow for me, and I like to be moving more. Um, I typically am doing Pilates on the Megaformer, but right now I'm not doing anything because I fractured my foot.
And before that, you were an athlete as well, like me.
Yes, I played soccer in college. Did not do yoga during that time either.
Got it. So, doesn't hate yoga, doesn't love yoga. Um, but overall, when it comes to physical fitness into the human body, you're pretty smart. That's what you do on a daily basis. I remember that I hurt my knee when, like, probably within the first year that we met. And I was scheduling appointments with physical therapists because I don't know. I don't know what I thought. I thought you did something. I thought you were in training still somehow or something. I was like, no, I'm going to go see like a real physical therapist. And then eventually I was like, wait, why am I paying money to go see? But also, you might not treat me if I asked you. You're sometimes don't give free treatment to family.
It's not that I don't get free treatment. I just want to do my work at work. I don't want to come home and continue to do the same work.
Truth. Okay, that was unfair. All right. So, anyways, but because of your background in physical therapy, you have helped out a lot with creating manful yoga content. So,
I don't know about a lot, but
okay, but some of the help. Can you talk about some of the help? Like I've come to you before and I've asked, "Hey Marissa, what would you do if let's say I'm making a yoga video for people who have a the typical L4 L5 or S L4 L5 issues or L5 S1 or did I say that right? Yes, I did.
yes.
Okay. So typical low back problems, um, basically too much rounding, or you have like a herniated disc. So I've come to you with questions like that, and you've provided, tips. So can you talk about that at all?
Yes, you have come to me for advice on certain things. Um, it's hard as a PT to give exact exercises for yoga specifically. Like, I don't know exactly what's going on. So PT world, we do big evaluation to actually figure out what's going on in the body. So it's not like a general program will fix everyone. So I think you and I have a hard time sometimes
Hmm.
when it comes to that, because you want, 5 exercises that are going to cure low back pain, when that, I mean, could be the case, but also might not be the case depending on what they have going on.
Yeah, I think the big difference is your goal is to get the exact specific cause of what's happening and then to be able to give the exercises or the treatment that is going to get you from X amount of pain to the least amount of pain as quickly as possible. Whereas with yoga, or with my programs, I can I can make pretty good assumptions about what's happening, and I can like ask one or two questions and guide you in the right program or workout or series of exercises. And most of that will, I mean, generally it's going to help in those situations. But it might not be as quick as if you were to go see a physical therapist so.
I don't even know if it's that much. I think your programs do a good job of, like, low back pain exercises, or you have leg pain, maybe sciatica type symptoms. Like, these are good exercises for that. I think it's a good general, like, program for each area that you guys have.
Mhm.
Um, we Your population is probably more able-bodied than the population that I get. So we focus on a lot of like smaller movements and smaller muscles.
Mhm. I've also noticed there's a big difference between level of motivation with people who are out finding a online yoga program versus people who are coming in because, you know, workers' comp is paying for it, or like I get 8 visits and then I'll just hear and I don't have to go to work, so I'm doing this instead. So.
Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of workers' comp in the setting that I am in. Um, a lot of Medicare patients at the clinic I used to be at. Um, and the issue there was more, they just wanted to keep coming in because they thought of it as like a personal training
Mhm.
session instead of therapy. Um, but yes, in general, I would say, if someone's looking online specifically for a workout program, they're going to do it, as opposed to someone who's being forced to come to PT.
Mhm. Yeah, I know we've had some conversation. Well, I hear about obviously you text me about your work frustrations. So people who don't want to do their exercise, or they're not doing their exercise at home, or they're coming in, they're like, I don't want to do any exercises today. Let's just do body work, or can I just have a massage? Or like they come in with this idea that you're a personal trainer or you're a massage therapist. And, I would be very frustrated in your position because you're like, I went to school for a lot of years and I did a bunch of studying. I'm not here to count reps for you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big one. I definitely do not count anyone's reps. Do not ask me to count your reps ever. Just like Dean doesn't count reps. We're in the same headspace there.
I just can't count reps. If you've ever done one of my workouts, you'll know what I mean. Um, let's see here. So true or false, you lost 5 to 10 pounds after you moved in with me.
True.
Why was that?
It wasn't that I wasn't being active. I was holding that end up. But I was eating very poorly. So when I moved in with Dean, I started eating what Dean was eating. And that was basically like stir fry meat and veggies all the time. No different. He just puts meat and veggies into a pot and then seasons it differently every night, and that's a different meal.
That was how I used to make meals. Since then, I think my cooking has improved and become more varied and not always incredibly healthy.
Yeah, but who asked you to do that?
I mean, it wasn't so much you asked me. So when we first met, the when we first met and we first started like living together, well, shortly, whenever that was, um, it wasn't that long. When we first started living together,
When we
and
had known each other
right,
for like a year.
almost, yes. Um,
No, we had known each other.
it was like 9 months. We knew each other for like nine
No,
months.
no. We met in May of 2014.
Oh, okay.
And it was September of 2015
Okay. So, but
that
6 months after we
dating,
started
yeah.
dating, right? Okay. So, anyways, after when we moved in together, she had a bunch of habits that I was at the time. I was much different than I am now, and I would just kind of come home and look at what she was doing, and I'd be like, "Why are you watching TV?" Or like, "Why are there cookies in here?" And eventually, she won. Like, eventually, I just gave up, and then I came over to the dark side, and now I do most of her habits with her, and they have become our habits. So
Mm,
some.
some of the habits. I mean, I think I was so active when I was younger, like playing soccer. I don't know how many hours a day, all day, every day. I could eat whatever I wanted. I could do whatever I wanted, and I maintained the same shape for the most part. Um, and then I think after PT school, when I met you, I was still trying to continue the same habits and didn't even realize like how much weight I had put on until I lost it by eating the same things as you.
Mhm.
As far as you like having the same bad quote unquote habits as me, yes and no. I mean, do you eat a dessert every now and again? Yeah. Do I tend to have desserts more than you? 100%. 100%. Um,
She needs her ice cream.
I do love ice cream, but I am trying not to do that daily. Um, but yeah, I think he's evolved. His recipes have evolved. Um,
His recipes for life, not just for food.
um, yeah, if you make different, yeah, it's not just meat and veggies in a skillet anymore. Um, right now, this year's like as of 2022, you've actually been trying like to cook different things each week, where we used to just eat the same things all the time. Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
you don't really eat as many treats as I do. So
Yeah, maybe we can circle back to some of the things we're trying to do new for 2022. So, um, do you think manful yoga can be helpful for women too? I think a big question is, it's called manful yoga. Is it for men? But obviously, you've been to when I was just doing classes and workshops and I was only getting like 4 or 5 people. Marisa would come and we would really need her in there because she would add like 20% to the total class size. So she's done a lot of most of my group or in person things. But, anyways, manful yoga for women. Yes, no, anything that would prevent it from being as helpful.
I I think it's great for women. If I do yoga on the rare occasion, obviously there's a little bit of bias as you're my husband, but I would do ask you like tell me walk me through a routine. I
Did
don't
I introduce you as my wife, by the way? I don't know if I did. I think I just said this is Marissa.
I don't know. I was
Anyways,
really nervous
this
at
is
the
my
beginning.
wife.
I was nervous at the beginning, so I can't remember. Um, but now I lost my train of thought.
It's okay.
What did you? Oh, what for women? Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna do yoga, it's something that Dean tells me to do. Like he makes a plan or a routine for me, and I do that. When my patients are asking for yoga, male or female, I direct them to Manfil Yoga. Um, there's just so much versatility on the website, so it doesn't matter, if you want something a little bit simpler, not as hard. You have your beginner stuff. Um, I really just I love that it's non-spiritual. I am not. It is. I don't know how to say this
Should we
nicely.
talk about the class that we went to when I brought you to a class that involved howling?
Yeah, go ahead. You can talk
No, you
about
can
it.
do it. People know you're from me all the time.
We went to. Can I say the name of it? Is that
Just don't.
okay? We went to a yoga
It was in
studio
Austin.
in Austin, downtown, and I think it was probably like maybe I'd been to a handful of yoga classes before that in person, and we start like doing the poses, and then all of a sudden she's like, okay, now make like roar like a lion or whatever other animals she said, and I was just like in shock. I was just like, and there's nothing, I mean, if it's for you, great. Like, it's just not for me. And I was just so like thrown off that I was like, what is this person taking me to right now? At this point, I don't think we were actually dating. I think we were just hanging out.
Mhm.
And I was like, what am I doing? Like, why am I here right now? Um, that being said, the people that really enjoyed it seem to be having a great time. Just not for me. Like when I'm working out, I want it to be like serious. I want to get my work done and then I want to move on with my day. And I don't know if that's part of like college soccer or what.
Mhm.
um, but yeah, I don't, that's, it was just, I was just remember being like, holy crap, like people actually do these things and that's great for them. But again, not for me.
Yeah, I can relate. So keep on having to bring the microphone back. All right. So I want to ask questions about. So I also part of this. I want to give people kind of like an inside look at
Wait, I
things that.
didn't finish.
Oh, you didn't finish?
Yeah.
I'm so rude. Sorry.
Uh, only other thing I wanted to say about women and man flow yoga and just man flow yoga in general. I always appreciate the aspect of it as being an athletic type of yoga where I'm actually going to probably sweat by holding the poses for an extended period of time or working into some of those harder poses and then like continuing, not backing off once you've reached like, oh, I'm like about to fatigue. In some classes, I feel like they back off and they're like, okay, now let's go into child's pose. It's like, okay, we just did warrior. Now we're going to go into airplane. Like, I don't know if that's the right order,
Yeah.
but those kinds of things. So if I'm going to do it, I want to feel like I'm working out. And I feel like Man Flow Yoga does a great job of that.
Thanks,
I'm
wife.
not plugging you either, just saying.
This is Marissa doesn't know how to be dishonest, by the way. So I'm pretty sure she's being honest right now. So I wanna talk about I want to switch up and kind of ask questions about. I'm asking basically questions about myself. I'm asking you to tell people about me, about some things that they might not know about me that I just don't put on social media or that I thought might be interesting. So I wanted to start by asking, what are some of my most annoying habits?
Well, first one that comes to mind is his morning routine. It drives me insane, and I'm sure most of you guys probably have a morning routine.
Just to provide some context here, Marissa and I had our son in June of 2020, and if you have a child, I'm talking about a child, not a something other
A
than child.
toddler.
We have and yes, our toddler, and that the definition of free time has completely changed since then. And obviously, your mornings are incredibly filled. Like before, we could just get up and do whatever. But, anyways, point is, we had a son back in June 2020, and that has changed a lot of things for us. So, continue.
Yeah, so since having Declan, Dean has like been very rigid about his morning routine. Like it's very
Just
much
the food part.
not not flexible. I think we have a hard time with mornings because I'm very much a okay, let me make sure Declan gets fed. Let me make sure Declan gets this. And okay, is the food ready? Is Dean going to be able to eat? You know, that's my mindset. And Dean's like, well, if I'm not eating, no one's eating. So it's difficult to manage at times. But his morning routine of like waking up before he well, like if Declan's crying, he just sometimes maybe he'll just let him keep crying. And he's like, I'm gonna drink this 40 ounces of water first before I do anything else. And to me, that's really frustrating because I'm the opposite. And I would be like, okay, I'm gonna just grab Declan, then I'm gonna drink my water, and then we'll move on. So that's one thing that you do. And then you make breakfast
Mhm.
and you make a smoothie and you make coffee.
Mhm.
I know these all sound like normal day to day things as I'm saying them out loud, but the amount of time that it takes is a lot. And all the while, like I'm taking care of Declan. And he likes to say, like, oh, I'm making breakfast and that's for everyone. I'm like, yeah, but it's also for you, right? Like you're getting to eat. So I think that's been the most frustrating thing to me in the past year that I can think of quickly.
And we'll be delving into that in our non-existent, possibly future marriage counseling sessions. All right. So we're both in therapy, by the way. We both have found incredible amounts of benefit from it. So this is a podcast about full well-being, not just physical. So thought I'd touch on that. Anyways, what are some ways that I've significantly changed since we first met and first started dating? It's been like 8 years. So
um, I would say, I mean, initially you were hard to trust. Um, but I don't have any issues with that. We definitely had to work through that for a good year or so. Um, but I think your ability to empathize has improved. Um, Dean was someone who I honestly had probably never seen cry, like legitimately cry, not like, oh, there's like one tear from watching a Sarah McLachlan dog video or something like that. Um, you know, it's not, I don't, not that you need to cry in order to have a healthy relationship, but I feel like a healthy relationship with yourself, you probably should be able to cry. Um, but yeah, I don't think I'd seen him cry until mom passed, like a full on cry, right?
mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So yeah, and that took, I don't know, she passed away 4 years ago. So that was at least 4 or 5 years into knowing each other.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I think all the time, like being spent together, especially in the past 2 years because of the pandemic, things that like I need from you as far as recognizing like when I'm like really stressed out and I need you to step in, or things that would make me happy, right? Like this year you surprised me with all of my friends for my birthday. That's like something you never would have done for me before. So I think your ability to recognize like my wants and needs has also improved. But so being able to read that body language, definitely still need some work. I obviously need work as well. But I don't think those are things you would have done 8 years ago. Oh,
Oh, go ahead.
he also never called his mom and dad, like hardly ever. Sorry, Brad and Julie. Um, when I first met him, like it was maybe like a once a week, once every other week kind of thing where he would talk to his parents like in depth. And for me, that was really weird because I talked to my mom every single day. Like when she was here, we talked on the phone. Whether it was like I was really busy, at least she had a text from me and I had a text from her. Um, Same with my sister, like talk to them regularly. My dad, like every couple days or so, but I was at least touching base with them multiple times. And that was something that you did not do with your family. Um, and now I feel like you definitely make a conscious effort to call them, talk to them, include them in your life,
Mm-hmm.
which I hope they appreciate.
Yeah, I hope so. So, and we'll come back to that later because we definitely just grew up in different families, and adjusting to that and like our different values was and continues to be something that we continue to like. I wouldn't say it's an issue. I just say it's more of it's just something that takes extra time and extra conversations to navigate. Um, what's one way that my work habits have changed? Because when we first met, I worked every day, Saturday, Sunday, just kind of like constantly. So, how has that changed over the years? I think this is important to cover.
Yeah. So, like you said, you worked all the time, like even when it was the weekend, even if we were on a trip. Like that one year we took a trip every month out of the year. Um, sounds very privileged. I don't mean it to say it that way. We definitely saved money to
We
be able
did
to
it on
do
the
those
cheap.
things. Yeah. Yeah, went to places where we had friends and stuff like that. But anyways, where was I going with that? Oh yeah, you would even work on trips like that. Um, all the time. He was on social media all the time, you guys, all the time. Like I thought I was on it a lot. Dean was definitely, I mean, obviously, part of that was growing his business, getting that presence on social media. Oh my God, I almost fell out of this chair. You keep pushing me back.
Stop moving away from me.
I'm not.
Yes, you are.
um, okay. You were
Growing
always on
business.
social media. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, that's changed drastically. He actually is on it less, um, way less. And I feel like that's really helped with his mental health. And I mean, you guys say some really horrible stuff. And he is a human being. And I,
If you're listening to this podcast, you probably aren't among those people. But yeah, I think a lot of people just who don't really care that much just say whatever comes to mind without understanding any of the context, or they don't even think about it. They're just like, meh, blah, 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 and it's like word vomit on a. But yeah, it I can take it personally, or I used to, a lot harder than I do now.
yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, like you said, probably not you guys, but a lot of social media warriors like to think of Dean as just like this physique or this like body that they want, um, and make inappropriate, or just rude comments, or comments where they're, instead of looking, he makes this incredibly like long post that took a lot of thought, this is why I want you to do this pose, or this is why runners should focus on these things, or whatever example it is. They notice like that his shirt is off or something else instead of actually reading the content. So it devalues what he's doing. Sorry, I'm probably getting too into it, but so those things make him upset. It's not just, yes, it's nice to get comments that you look nice and people handsome, whatever other words everyone has used. But yeah, I think yes. And then so he would get trapped in this cycle of like wanting to respond to people or just getting mad at people for like not recognizing all the hard work that he's put into Manful Yoga and his business. But yeah, did I answer the question? Oh,
Yeah.
and now he can't work as much anyways because we have a child. So there's that.
Yeah, I think I don't know when it was exactly, but there was definitely a time when I realized that I was I was spending I would just get upset over something and I would be at home, but I wouldn't really be present. Like I would just be there and you'd be talking to me and you could tell I just wasn't in the conversation. I was just thinking of something that somebody had said and how it was making me upset, and I was just thinking of how I can respond to it. And it was and I'm not bringing this up because want to talk about I don't want to talk about my experience with it so much as bring awareness to others people's experience, that even though I'm on social media and I have I have my X amount of followers, and you might think that someone who has like a big social media account doesn't get upset about things, but I probably go through the same, I probably go through the same frustrations that other people go to when they have stress from social media. So I go through that stress as well. And I don't, it's not really I've kind of revised how I use my platform. Like I don't want to use my platform to bring attention to stress that I'm experiencing on there like I was before. But I do and did experience stress from social media. So yeah. All right. Let's see here. How am I a good dad? Am I a good husband? Let's ask that question. It's on there. It's on the list of questions. You can see it if you look.
Oh, I'm looking at it because it's about to die.
Oh, I'm plugging it in.
Okay. Is Dean a good husband and dad? I mean, I feel like this, I just have to say yes. I mean, even if I wanted to say no, just kidding. No, I think Dean and I have had to do a lot of work. I think before Declan, um, it was easy for the most part. I feel like did we have arguments? Of course. Were there things we didn't agree on? Of course. But without a child, it seemed so much easier to move past. So yes, good husband. We've only been married for 2.5 years, most of that being during a pandemic. So we made it so far. I feel like that's a good sign. Father, absolutely. I am very much equality is like a big part of me. It's a big piece of my core is that I want things to be as equal as they can be. Um, Meaning like just because I am a female and I was able to bear the child and give birth to the child doesn't mean that I also have to do all the things for the child. So I was very upfront with Dean about that before we had Declan. Like, hey, when he gets out of here, like you're going to be doing stuff too. Like you don't just get to go do whatever you want all the time. That's not how I am. I don't want that. I'm going to put this in quotes and I don't mean to hurt anyone's feelings, but I don't want a traditional like marriage and partnership with a child this way where like you get to go do things you want, but I have to stay back with Declan. Um, and so I feel like I like kind of pounded that in so that he understood. Um, it was hard at first, I think, with breastfeeding, and because that just takes so much of any mom. Um, so it was hard to like find that equalness there, because Declan was a little,
Terror.
yeah, he was a little tyrant. He didn't want to take the bottle for like probably 3 or 4 months. So yeah, I think we're still working on finding that like where it feels like a good rhythm. I think for the most part, like since for the past 6 to 8 months, I feel like it's been pretty solid. I feel like he has his routine, we have our routine. Now that I've gone stopped breastfeeding, yay for me, 18 months. But now that part is over, it's a lot easier for us to like switch roles. Like, okay, you sleep in today and then I'll sleep in tomorrow, or like you go do this and I'll go do
Yes,
this.
the sleeping in. We literally just figured out the trading in sleeping in thing like last month. So I've been very excited to sleep in to like today I slept until 7:30. It was wonderful.
Yes, hard to do when you're breastfeeding though. It's difficult.
Yeah. That's why we both caught up. That's why we didn't trade off then.
But yeah, I there, for the most part, Dean wants to be in Declan's life. Like he wants to be present. He's not on his phone for the most part when he's with him. Um, he actively like gets him, and yeah.
Cool. So as long as we're on the subject, we're talking about marriage. And though we're not like, I wouldn't say we're experts in any way in anything, I do want to touch on like the fact that we just came from different backgrounds, like not bad, not good, just different values, different things were emphasized more. Like in my family, I came from a background where like your job was very important and your professional goals are really important. I have a really successful dad, I have a really successful mom, and that's just something that was emphasized. um, and you also came from that background where education was really important and getting a job was really important, but your home life was just a lot different. So we've had to just like I remember when we first started living together, and I said, I'm going to go to the grocery store. And you were like, oh, I'll come too. And I was like, why? It takes one person to go to the grocery store. Why are you coming with me? We can split up and we can do more things and get more done and that was like, you're like, no, we're going together.
Yeah, Dean is definitely a divide and conquer. There's definitely times for that. It's not that I need to go to the grocery store with him every single time that he goes, but I feel like this is probably, and you're probably bringing it up because it's more what I want to say present, or it's
Prevalent.
more aware. We're more aware of it right now because we have a child, and you're still very much like divide and conquer. And I'm like, well, yes, but Declan should also see us like working as a family unit, which is something that I grew up with. So, like spending a lot of quality time with your family. You know, I enjoy doing things together more so than doing them on my own. And there are certain things I need to do on my own. It's not saying that I can't do anything on my own, but yeah, I think that's one of them. One of the different things about our families. Yeah.
Mm. We'll just cut that pause. See here. Okay, so despite that, we both do well. At least my entire life has had a fitness focus. Your dad is a runner and he works out a lot. You've obviously have a fitness background. How do we? I guess what do we do around the house, or what do we do to encourage a healthy lifestyle?
I feel like honestly a lot of it's pressure. Maybe not the answer you're looking for, but um Dean can like work out on his own without someone like on top of him telling him what to do, or like going to a class or whatever it is. He has his squat rack here at home, obviously, and he just does his workouts. Like I don't tell him to do his workouts, he just does them. Um, I think that puts a little bit of pressure on me. I feel like some external pressure that's like, okay, well, Dean did his workout today. Like, what are you going to do? Because you know he's going to ask you like what you did, or like maybe not ask you specifically like what you did to work out, but like he will bring up, if it's like a week and I'm like, oh, my back's starting to hurt, then he's going to say like, well, have you exercised this week? So it's always in the back of my mind, that he's probably going to ask me something about my working out if I haven't been keeping up with it. But yeah, I think for me, I'm the opposite. I enjoy more of like the class atmosphere, which has been almost non existent because of the pandemic, only gone when it hasn't been surging. Um, I like competing. So I think for me, like being in person, even if I don't know the person next to me, like competing with them, like I'm going to hold this plank longer than them or whatever that is. But you're very good at like self motivating yourself to like, okay, I got 30 seconds last time. I'm going to get 35 seconds today. Um, but yeah, I think living with someone who works out consistently makes you also feel like you need to work out consistently. Um, I think that answers it. Dean still does most of the cooking. Um, I'll do like once or twice a week, and it's usually like a more involved meal that takes a little bit longer. Uh, but yeah, we still follow Dean's diet for the most part.
Yes, but that diet has evolved significantly. It used to be just veggies and meat, as you said, and now we eat lots of carbs too. Well, that was also because I realized that I was wasting away slowly because I wasn't eating carbs. We have like pasta, marinara sauce, ground meat. We have tacos with lots of fresh veggies. We make burgers. What are some of our other dishes? Why am I blanking out? Yeah, we have a hash with sweet potatoes. What else?
On the board, you have steak.
Oh yeah, we have steak on the board right now. I realize that I can start making steaks because I have a grill, so that's
The
cool.
green bean thing you make is really good.
Yeah, we've started making more intensive recipes. But one thing that we've done this year that we're starting to do more of, one I don't know about your household, but one of our biggest, and we found out that this is like a really big stress point in some other houses at least, is like just what are you going to eat for dinner? So with kids in particular, yeah, because you don't know what they're going to eat, if they're actually going to eat it. Sometimes they'll eat it, and then another night they'll be like, I hate this. What are you giving me this for? I'm going to throw this at you. So something we started doing is just writing out the meals in advance and then making sure that we get all the groceries that we need like ahead of time. A lot of the before that we were just scrambling to put together a meal, and that was really stressful. That was honestly one of the most stressful parts of my day. Was it'd be like 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, and I'd be trying to finish up work stuff, and I'd be thinking, oh my God, what am I going to make for dinner? And that was just a really stressful part. So planning in advance, we're hoping that that's going to help. But um, what are some other new things that we're trying for 2022? And I'll give it back to you for that.
as as a as a couple, as a family.
Sure.
uh, what are we doing?
You
I
got your
mean, I know the
skincare
meal plan.
routine.
Well, that's for me. That's why I
Yeah.
said, is it? So for myself, I have never worn makeup. Um, I just never got
She doesn't
into
need
it.
it. She
Well,
really doesn't.
probably not true, but I just never got into it. I just was like, why would I spend 25 minutes putting stuff on my face? I just don't want to do it. It's also very expensive, I hear. But yeah, I just started. So with Declan, my hormones have changed. And I felt like I was just getting like weird breakouts, and it was really bothering me. A lot of that also because postpartum, and Dean let me sink into, not let me, but he didn't try to like tell me it was doing something wrong to my body. But I kind of sunk into some of those like bad dieting.
Did you want me to say, "Hey Marissa, you need to be healthier" while you were nursing our child? Because I didn't think that was the right move.
No, I didn't. But I let myself then. I let myself kind of get into those habits again. So, obviously stress and then eating poorly. And so hormones changing, all of that, had some acne stuff come up. And so I decided to do a nighttime face routine. Um, so like 3 steps. Yeah, so that's something I'm doing. What else am I doing? Oh, because I fractured my foot, I decided it was time to start taking a vitamin D supplement just in case. I mean, although I did get my complete blood count a month ago, and vitamin D was fine. I was like, a little bit more can always help. And then I'm really bad about not drinking water. Specifically, like, if I don't do it first thing in the morning, then I do a terrible job of like drinking water throughout the rest of the day. So I find that if I have that first glass of water in the morning, my body is just like ready to take on more almost. So don't forget to continue to drink water throughout the day.
And has there been anything that's been helpful in particular for helping you stick with habits? Something that I might have done for you when you were first taking
Yeah.
supplements for pregnancy?
Well, it actually goes back before that.
Oh.
When I was studying for my OCS exam, I told myself I wanted to study 2 hours every day, and Dean actually bought a chart, like a sticker chart essentially, and he wrote like, these are my goals, one of them being to study 2 hours, and each day that I did that I got to take a sticker and put it on the chart, just like we were in elementary school. But it actually really kept me
Motivated,
yeah,
accountable.
accountable, yeah, for completing that. So same thing when I was pregnant. I absolutely hate swallowing pills. um I had a really decent sized prenatal vitamin that I was supposed to be taking. Same thing there. We made like a little chart for each month. It wasn't a sticker, but I got to like put an X through it once I completed that day. And then same thing now. I have a calendar where I'm just Xing off, okay, I did all those 3 things today. Get to check that off.
Yeah, so that method is helpful. Um, what are some of our? I don't even know. We've discussed some of these, but what are some of our shared goals or some things that we're, I guess, working towards as a family, as a couple?
We would like to move into a bigger house, but I am reluctant to move to the burbs. I am from the burbs. I I'm going to hold out as long as I possibly can to not move to the suburbs. Not that there's anything wrong with the suburbs. I just like being in the city, being close to everything. Um, yeah, we got really lucky with the house that we have now. But we're definitely outgrowing it. And if we decide to have another child, we will outgrow it. So,
Yeah, so we're in Austin, by the way. If you didn't know where I am, we're in Austin, and the real estate market here is offensively expensive. Like approaching San Francisco prices, expensive. Probably not that bad, but it's pretty bad. It's pretty expensive to the point that you have to be like a top 5% earner in order to have a home here. So, we have a 3 bedroom, 1 story. um, this is my office. If you're watching the video, this is my office, slash slash guest bedroom at times. We have a blow up mattress that's very nice.
went like that because I was like, it's not a bedroom.
It is a bed. It could be a bed. Anyways, so but we have to creep through the house in order to get to the master bedroom at night. We have to put the water on like at a low setting so it doesn't wake up Declan. Like we have to do all these things to make sure that we don't wake up Declan because he's just
It was built in the 40s. It was remodeled, but it was built in the 40s. So it's very loud.
But anyways, for the same cost of this house, we could easily get like a 2 story or even a 3 story house in a nice Midwestern town like Cleveland, for example, which is where I grew up. We're probably not moving back there because of the complete lack of sun, but what we could get there compared to what we're getting here is just anyway really different. So yeah, shared goal, moving
House.
getting a house.
Yeah.
What else? What other things are we haven't had this conversation yet this year, so
I mean, eventually we were planned to have another kid. No, I am not pregnant. No, we don't plan on it anytime soon. And that's our business anyways. But eventually, yes, we would like to have Dean wants 3. I'm happy with 2, so we'll see how that goes.
yeah, if we get the second time, if the second one's a girl, probably Marissa's calling it quits, but if it's a boy, then Marissa will probably try one more time, and then we'll have 3 boys. All right, so I have some other questions that I normally ask people, so I'll ask you these too. So, um, what is one practice that has just helped you and something that other people might not do on a as or other something that other people might not value as much that has just helped your overall health, happiness, wellness that you like to do on a regular basis? Your eyes are like deer in headlights right now. So it's like one thing that you do for yourself that other people might not think is as helpful, but you have just found really helpful.
uh, Man, I don't do a lot for myself these days, I feel like. It's just hard to answer right now because of my foot. Like normally it would be like I'm going to work out, right? Like when I was like at a really low point postpartum, you're like you need to go work out. And so I did, and then I felt like immediately better after like getting out of the house, doing a workout, knowing that I like accomplished something for that day. Um with my foot, just kind of like not I can't I don't have that outlet. Um
You've been organized.
I've been organizing the house. Yeah. But that's not like a long term. I think my long term thing is that I need that like time for fitness. Um, for me it's not every day. Not even for Dean, it's not really every day. I mean, you do probably do something active every day, but I just need like 3 or 4 times a week where I'm like getting out of the house, getting away from you, getting away from Declan, and just like enjoying the workout and the competition. Not that anyone else is competing with me in the class, but yeah, I don't, other than writing my goals down, like I'm very visual, so I need to like see them. If I didn't write like take your vitamin D supplement or wash your face at night, like I probably wouldn't do it. Um, so like having that visual cue of like, oh yeah, I need to do that today. Um, so for me, but that's like just my goals for January. It'll change in February when I hopefully get out of the boot and can start living my life normally again.
Yeah. So just in case someone else is listening and they're like, well, that's all, I only have goals for January too. It's actually a really good idea to break down things into just month-long trials. If you think about something like, I'm going to do this for ever, then you'll do it. You won't do it once. Then you'll be like, oh my God, I have to quit it now. It's just not going to work out. But if you can do things for just like 1 month at a time or 2 weeks at a time, or even 1 week at a time, and then stick to it for that shorter period of time, it makes it a lot easier. And then you can, at the end of a month, you can like, hey, this is good. I'll keep it going. But, anyways, you're doing fine. You're doing fine,
I love
honey.
that
You're doing
short
great.
answer.
It is actually true. Okay, so your next question is, what is the most stressful part of your day to day life?
I'm gonna say like having a child is definitely the most stressful. Just anything that involves him. And I will be that cliche though and say that it's also very rewarding. Like at the end of the day, when we know we've like provided him with like love and, you know, all of these things that he needs to grow as a human. But yeah, I think depending on Declan's mood, kind of just how he feels is kind of how it comes off of us as well. So like if he's crying a lot, we're like, get out of my way, like don't talk to me today. I need some space. If he's not crying as much, then I feel like it's a lot smoother. But yeah, I think managing. I just started going. I mean, I've been back at work for 7 months now. Initially was just going in twice a week and then virtually 3 days a week, which was really nice because I didn't have to go anywhere. Less stress about like driving to work, coming from work. Now I just started going in all 5 days a week again. So I feel like that change in schedule is stressful because it puts a lot on you to get like in the mornings where I have to go early, it puts a lot on you to get Declan ready. And then the nights where I work late, you have to get everything ready, like dinner, while also watching him. So I think just general, like managing a household, like things that I never had to think about until having Declan. Like you said before with dinner, like we could just make dinner and we would both eat it. It didn't matter what it was. You and I are not picky eaters, but Declan is. So it's like, well, crap, what are we going to make tonight? We can't have pasta again. Um, but yeah, I think that's work is a big stressor for me, though, too. Aside from just having, a cohesive family unit, work is a big stressor for me.
Okay. And then last question is something I ask everybody, but what do you think is, and I don't know if you answer this the best you can or don't answer it at all. What do you think is the biggest challenge facing men and their well being right now? You can use me as an example if you want.
Well, I just don't. Um, Biggest challenge facing men and I I feel like, part of this you're doing for mental health, right? I feel like that's that's a big piece. I think it's becoming more like people are becoming more aware of men's like emotional health, not only just physical health, just their mental well being. But I don't think we've like crossed that bridge where men feel comfortable like expressing their feelings or emotions about things. Yeah, I mean, just the stereotypes that go with males in general. Like don't cry, be tough, and like all of those things. Um, I mean, I'm not a man, so I'm not really sure, but that would be my assumption as part of it. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's huge. And I think that even though, uh, even if we've like logically or intellectually we've read something or we now understand, oh, emotions are important, we're still drawing from the ingrained, emotionally rooted experience that we learned as a child that says, okay, you need to cover this up or you need to like wall this off. And or things that like we just don't have. It's harder to access because it's not just like a, oh, you've changed my opinion and now I will start behaving differently. It's way deeper than that. So, okay. Well, I think that's all the. Do you have anything else you want to add or anything else you want to talk about?
I don't think so.
She said, no, I don't think so. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope that was helpful. I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, I'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye bye.
If you like that episode, check out this other one right here. I think you're really going to enjoy it. If you haven't subscribed, click this subscribe button over here, and you can listen to the full episodes on any major podcasting platform. Full details below in the description.